In a grand hall filled with bright lights and shiny decorations, the Galactic Council sat in their high chairs, surrounded by holographic screens displaying images of different planets. They were the rulers of the galaxy, powerful and proud. Today they had gathered to discuss Earth, a small planet they considered unimportant. As the meeting started, the council members laughed and joked about the humans. "They are so weak. Can you believe they still use weapons made of metal?" One member said, shaking his head in disbelief. "How can such a primitive species be a threat?" Another member chimed in. "They can't even travel between stars without help. They are nothing." In the back of the room, a young human captain named Sarah watched with a heavy heart. She had come to represent Earth, hoping to warn the council. But instead of listening, they only mocked her. "Look at her. She thinks she can speak for her planet," a council member sneered, pointing at her. Sarah felt a wave of anger rise within her. She stood up, her voice steady despite the laughter. "You may think humans are weak, but you underestimate us. We have courage and strength that you do not see." The laughter stopped for a moment as the council turned to stare at her. Some members looked confused while others just sneered. "Oh, really? What can you do? Dance for us?" one member mocked. The room filled with laughter again, echoing off the walls. But Sarah refused to back down. "I came here to warn you. Underestimating humanity is a mistake you will regret." "Regret?" Another member laughed. "You think we'll regret anything? You're just a tiny speck in the galaxy." Feeling the weight of their laughter, Sarah's determination grew stronger. She knew she had to show them what humans were capable of. "You don't know what we are capable of," she said, her voice rising above the noise. "We will prove you wrong. You will see." The council members exchanged glances, some whispering to each other. Finally, the leader of the council, a tall figure with shimmering skin, raised a hand for silence. "Enough of this nonsense," he said. "Earth is not worth our time. We have bigger threats to discuss." With that, he dismissed Sarah and her warnings, sending her back to Earth empty-handed. As she left the grand hall, Sarah felt crushed. The council had not only laughed at her, but had dismissed her warnings about their growing power. She could not believe they were so blind. Back on Earth, she shared her experience with military leaders. "They don't respect us," she explained. "They think we are weak, but we are not." The military leaders listened closely, their faces serious. They knew that Sarah was right. If the council saw them as a joke, they could become a target. "What can we do?" one leader asked. "How can we change their minds?" Sarah took a deep breath, her heart racing. "We must prepare. We need to train our soldiers to show them that we are strong. We can't let them mock us any longer." The leaders nodded, agreeing with her. They quickly set plans into motion to create an elite group of soldiers who would train harder than anyone else. They would use every resource available to them. "We will show the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated," Sarah declared with confidence. Meanwhile, unknown to the council, the aliens who had long watched Earth were beginning to take notice. Whispers of humanity's potential spread throughout the galaxy. Many were curious about the small planet that refused to back down. Back in the heart of Earth's military base, Sarah and her team began their preparations. They understood that they had a long road ahead, but their spirits were high. The laughter of the council still echoed in Sarah's mind, but now it fueled her desire to succeed. "We will train hard," she told her fellow soldiers. "We will show them who we are. They mocked us today, but we will make sure they never forget humanity again." With determination in their hearts, the human soldiers began their journey, preparing to face the laughter of the council with the roar of their strength. They would rise up and show the galaxy what it truly meant to be human. Back on Earth, a sense of urgency filled the military base. The leaders gathered in a large room, discussing the best way to prepare for the challenge ahead. Captain Sarah stood at the front, her determination shining in her eyes. "We must train our soldiers to be the best they can be. The Galactic Council thinks we are weak, but we will prove them wrong." The room buzzed with energy as plans began to take shape. They decided to create an elite unit of human soldiers. This group would focus on physical training, advanced tactics, and teamwork. Sarah was excited but also aware of the hard work ahead. "We need to push ourselves beyond our limits," she said, inspiring the leaders around her. Over the next few weeks, the military base transformed into a training ground. The soldiers woke up early each day, ready to face the challenges that awaited them. They ran laps around the base, lifting weights and practicing combat skills. Sarah watched as they pushed through their fatigue, determination shining in their eyes. In the evenings, they gathered for strategy sessions. Sarah shared stories of the Galactic Council's strengths and weaknesses. They may have advanced technology, but we have something they don't: the will to fight for our home. The soldiers cheered, feeling a surge of pride. One day, a wise alien named Talon visited the base. He was from a planet far away and had been observing Earth for many years. Talon had heard about the Council's mockery of humans and wanted to help. "I will share my knowledge with you," he said. "I have seen many battles, and I know what it takes to win." Talon taught the soldiers new fighting techniques that combined speed and strategy. They practiced every day, learning how to outsmart their opponents rather than relying solely on strength. Sarah felt grateful for Talon's guidance, knowing it would make a big difference. As the weeks passed, the soldiers grew stronger and more confident. They learned to work as a team, building trust and friendship among themselves. They pushed each other to improve, celebrating each small victory. "We are not just a unit, we are a family," Sarah reminded them. However, the training was not without challenges. Some soldiers struggled to keep up, feeling overwhelmed by the intense preparation. One evening, a young soldier named Alex broke down during training, feeling defeated. Sarah approached him, kneeling beside him. "Alex, remember why we are doing this. We are fighting for our planet, for our people. You are stronger than you think." With Sarah's encouragement, Alex found the strength to continue. The other soldiers rallied around him, lifting his spirits. They reminded each other that they were in this together, and they would not give up. As the days turned into weeks, the soldiers faced many obstacles, both physical and mental. But each time they fell, they picked themselves up, determined to become better. Their training became a source of pride, and they started to believe in themselves. On a bright morning, after weeks of hard work, Sarah gathered everyone for a special announcement. "Today we are ready. We will show the Galactic Council what humanity is capable of. They mocked us before, but now we stand united and strong." The soldiers cheered, feeling the energy pulse through them. The military leaders arranged for a demonstration of their new skills. They invited other military leaders and civilians to witness the transformation of their soldiers. The soldiers showcased their training, performing drills and tactics that amazed the audience. Sarah watched with pride as her team displayed their strength and determination. After the demonstration, the atmosphere was electric. The crowd erupted into applause, cheering for their soldiers. Sarah felt a wave of hope wash over her. The laughter of the Galactic Council still echoed in her mind, but now it was replaced by the sound of her fellow soldiers cheering for one another. With each passing day, the human soldiers grew closer to their goal. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They would show the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. Together, they were prepared for battle, and their spirits burned bright with the fire of determination. The time for action was drawing near, and they would not back down. The sun was just beginning to rise over Earth when Captain Sarah gathered her elite group of soldiers. The air was filled with anticipation and excitement. Today was the day they would strike back against the Galactic Council. They had trained hard for this moment, and now it was time to show the galaxy what they were capable of. "Listen up, team," Sarah called, her voice steady and strong. "Today, we are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every person on Earth. We will show the Galactic Council that they made a mistake when they laughed at us." The soldiers nodded, their faces filled with determination. The plan was simple but risky. They would launch a surprise attack on a small council outpost located on a nearby planet. The outpost was not heavily guarded, and the soldiers believed they could take it without much trouble. But Sarah knew that every battle came with risks. "Stay sharp and stick to the plan," she reminded them. "We have trained for this moment." As they boarded their ships, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and nerves. The engines roared to life and they soared into the sky. The planet beneath them shrank into a blue dot as they entered space. The stars twinkled brightly, reminding them of how far they had come. Together they were leaving behind the laughter of the council, ready to prove their strength. After a short flight, they arrived at the council outpost. The planet was barren and rocky, with only a few buildings scattered across the landscape. The soldiers could see guards patrolling the area, but they appeared relaxed, unaware of the incoming threat. "This is it, everyone," Sarah said, her heart racing. "Time to show them what we can do." The soldiers disembarked from their ships, moving quickly and quietly. They followed Sarah's lead, using the terrain to their advantage as they approached the outpost. Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline as they neared their target. Every step brought them closer to proving that humans were not to be mocked. Once they reached the edge of the outpost, Sarah signaled for the team to halt. She took a deep breath and whispered, "On my mark." The soldiers nodded, their eyes focused on the guards. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she counted down. 3, 2, 1, go! With that, the soldiers charged forward, weapons raised. The guards were caught completely off guard, their surprised faces turning to shock as the humans attacked. The soldiers moved as one, working together to disable the guards quickly and efficiently. Sarah felt pride swell within her as she watched her team spring into action. The sound of combat filled the air as the humans fought with skill and determination. They used the tactics they had practiced, outsmarting their opponents at every turn. Sarah led from the front, directing her team and ensuring everyone stayed focused. "Keep pushing forward!" she shouted, her voice carrying over the chaos. As the battle raged on, the humans quickly gained the upper hand. The guards, unprepared for such a fierce attack, began to retreat. "We can't let them escape!" Sarah yelled. "We need to show the council that we mean business!" With renewed energy, the soldiers pressed on, taking control of the outpost. They captured several guards, forcing them to surrender. "This is just a taste of what we can do," one soldier shouted, feeling the thrill of victory. The others cheered, their spirits soaring as they felt the power of their unity. After securing the area, Sarah ordered the team to gather supplies and information. They searched the outpost for anything that could help them in future battles against the council. As they combed through the building, they discovered plans for other council operations, detailing their strategies and targets. This was the intelligence they needed to turn the tide in their favor. With their mission accomplished, the soldiers regrouped outside, a sense of triumph washing over them. They had struck the first blow against the Galactic Council, and the victory felt sweet. "We did it!" Sarah exclaimed, her heart swelling with pride. "We showed them that humans are not weak." As they returned to their ships, ready to head back to Earth, Sarah looked back at the outpost. This battle was just the beginning. They had proven their strength, and now the Galactic Council would have to take them seriously. The laughter that had once echoed through the council chambers would soon turn into fear. With renewed hope and confidence, the soldiers soared back into space, ready to share their victory with the people of Earth. They had taken the first step toward changing the galaxy's perception of humanity, and they would not stop until they had secured their place among the stars. The fight had just begun, and Sarah and her team were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. As the human soldiers returned to Earth, the mood was electric. They had achieved what many thought impossible, defeating the Galactic Council's guards at their own outpost. As their ships landed, cheers erupted from the gathered crowds. Families, friends, and fellow soldiers welcomed them back as heroes. The air was filled with excitement and pride. Captain Sarah stepped off her ship, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. The sight of her fellow humans celebrating filled her heart with joy. "We did it!" she shouted, raising her fist in the air. The soldiers echoed her cheers, their voices ringing out with triumph. They had not just fought for themselves, they had fought for every person on Earth. As they made their way to the military base, news of their victory spread like wildfire. Reporters rushed to interview Sarah and the soldiers, eager to share their incredible story with the world. "We showed the Galactic Council that we are strong and united," Sarah told the cameras. "This is just the beginning. We will continue to fight for our planet!" Back at the base, the military leaders gathered to discuss the implications of the recent battle. Sarah, along with her fellow soldiers, joined the meeting, still buzzing with energy from their victory. "We have the Council's plans now," she said, presenting the intelligence they had gathered. "We know their movements, and we can prepare for their next steps." The leaders listened carefully as Sarah explained the details of the Council's operations. The information revealed weaknesses and gaps in their defenses, offering a chance for humanity to strike again. "If we act quickly and strategically, we can disrupt their plans and show them we are not to be underestimated," she urged. Excitement rippled through the room as the leaders realized the potential of this information. "We must capitalize on this victory," one of the generals declared. "Let's mobilize our forces and prepare for the next strike. Humanity has a chance to turn the tide." Over the next few weeks, the military worked tirelessly to prepare for their next move. The soldiers trained harder than ever, building on the skills they had learned in the first battle. Sarah led the charge, inspiring her team with her unwavering spirit. "We are the defenders of Earth," she shouted during training sessions. "Every drop of sweat brings us closer to victory." As the soldiers honed their skills, they also forged stronger bonds. They shared stories, laughter, and sometimes tears, knowing that they were fighting not just for themselves, but for their families and friends. They became a tight-knit family, united in their mission. "We will do this together," they promised one another. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was not taking the humans lightly. News of the defeat reached their ears, and they were furious. They convened in their grand chambers, plotting their next steps. "We must crush these humans before they get too bold," one of the leaders declared. "They think they can challenge us? We will show them the true power of the Council." As the Council strategized, Sarah and her soldiers prepared for their next attack. They planned a bold mission to strike a key Council base on another planet, aiming to further disrupt their operations. The stakes were higher this time, but the humans were ready. "We have the strength of Earth behind us," Sarah reminded her team. "We will not back down." On the day of the mission, the soldiers boarded their ships once more, a mix of excitement and nerves filling the air. As they soared into space, Sarah reflected on how far they had come. "We are not just soldiers, we are warriors of hope," she thought, determination fueling her spirit. When they arrived at the Council base, they found it heavily fortified. But instead of fear, a sense of confidence washed over Sarah and her team. "We know their weaknesses now," she said, her voice steady. "We will use what we've learned to our advantage." As the soldiers launched their attack, Sarah felt a surge of hope within her. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for a future where humans were respected and feared. With each victory, they would prove that they were a force to be reckoned with. The battle began, and the soldiers fought with all their might, fueled by their newfound strength and unity. Sarah led them fearlessly, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With each clash, they were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for the hope of all humanity. The galaxy would soon learn that humans were more than just a laughingstock. They were warriors, ready to defend their home at all costs. The day of the final battle had arrived. The atmosphere was tense as Captain Sarah and her team stood on the launch pad, looking at the ships ready for their most important mission yet. The Galactic Council had sent word that they would retaliate, and Earth's forces needed to be prepared for a fight like never before. "Today is the day we show them what we are made of," Sarah said, her voice steady. The soldiers around her nodded, their eyes filled with determination. They had fought hard and trained even harder, and now it was time to prove that humanity could stand against the Council. The plan was clear. They would attack the Council's main fleet base, where the Council was gathering its forces for a massive strike against Earth. If they could take out this base, they would cripple the Council's ability to fight back. The soldiers climbed into their ships, their hearts pounding with excitement and fear. They all knew the stakes were high, but they were ready to fight for their home. As the ships took off, Sarah looked at her team. "We've come so far together. No matter what happens, we fight as one." The soldiers shouted in agreement, their spirits lifted by her words. They flew through space, adrenaline coursing through their veins as they approached the Council's base. As they entered the atmosphere of the Council's planet, they could see the base sprawling below them, guarded by hundreds of alien ships. The sight was daunting, but Sarah felt a surge of courage. "We have the element of surprise," she reminded them. "Let's use it." The battle began as the humans launched their assault. They swooped in low and fast, taking the Council guards by surprise. Sarah led her team through the chaos, her heart racing as they dodged enemy fire. Explosions lit up the sky and the sounds of battle echoed around them. The soldiers fought fiercely, using their training and the tactics they had practiced for months. Sarah spotted an opening in the enemy's defenses. "Follow me," she shouted, leading her team into the fray. They broke through the lines, landing on the ground near the base. Once on solid ground, they quickly regrouped and prepared for the next wave of fighting. "Stay together and keep moving," Sarah commanded. The Council's forces fought back hard, their technology advanced and their numbers overwhelming. But the humans were determined. With every enemy they defeated, they gained more ground. The soldiers used teamwork and strategy, combining their strengths to outsmart the Council's troops. As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn in favor of the humans. Sarah felt a rush of hope as she watched her team working together flawlessly. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for respect, for freedom, and for each other. Suddenly, a massive enemy ship appeared in the sky, larger than anything they had faced before. It was a flagship of the Council, and it was preparing to fire on their position. Panic surged through the soldiers, but Sarah remained calm. "We can't let them take us down now!" she yelled. "We need to destroy that ship." With a fierce determination, the team formulated a plan. Sarah led a group of soldiers to flank the flagship, while others distracted its defenses. They moved swiftly, dodging fire as they approached the giant ship. As they reached the base of the flagship, Sarah and her team set explosives, ready to take down the massive vessel. "On my mark!" Sarah shouted, her heart racing. The soldiers nodded, ready to strike. With one last breath, Sarah counted down. 3, 2, 1, now! They pressed the triggers, and the explosives detonated with a deafening roar. The flagship erupted in flames, and debris rained down around them. The sight was awe-inspiring. The flagship was finally destroyed, and cheers erupted from the soldiers. "We did it!" one of them yelled, tears of joy streaming down his face. The Council's forces began to falter, their morale shattered by the loss of their mighty ship. With the flagship gone, the humans pressed their advantage, pushing the remaining Council soldiers back. The battle was fierce, but the humans fought with all their might. As the last of the Council forces surrendered, a wave of victory washed over Sarah and her team. They had done it. They had defeated the Galactic Council. As they stood on the battlefield, breathing heavily and covered in dirt, Sarah looked at her team with pride. They had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be mocked. They were strong, united, and ready to defend their home. "We have changed the course of history," Sarah said, her voice filled with emotion. "This is a new beginning for Earth." The soldiers cheered, knowing they had fought bravely and won against all odds. They had proven themselves to the Galactic Council and to the universe. Humanity had found its place among the stars, and they would not be forgotten. The fight was not over, but together they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead.